Hey all, today I wanted to try something a little bit different, a more relaxed video on the already announced driver moves. I'll just be covering the moves that were announced this season, so drivers like Verstappen and Leclerc who have signed multi-year deals last year will not be featured. I'm going to be showing the driver and my opinion on the move. Keep in mind this is my personal point of view, so it's okay and pretty much expected for you to disagree to a certain point. And yes, now is the weekly reminder to subscribe if you like my content and want to support me in any way. So let's just jump into it. The moves are going to be rated from great to awful, and we're going to go from driver to driver with no particular order, starting with Romain Grosjean. Grosjean announced he'll be leaving Haas at the end of the season and is not currently pursuing any other seats, as he has pretty much accepted he's going to be off the grid for 2021. In my opinion, this is a great move for all parties. With Haas looking to renew their lineup, this was a good time to let Grosjean go. He's a great guy, full of charm and a great overall personality, but unless he's on his day, he's just under average racing. Earlier in his career he had some great races leading to 10 total podiums, but now his mind was just in another place. He hasn't enjoyed racing for over a year now, and he has admitted that quarantine made him change his point of view when it comes to being a family man, and he wants to be more involved, and it's totally understandable. It's going to be sad to see him off the grid, but I think it was the correct move. So I'm going to give the move a good rating. Next up is his teammate, Kevin Magnussen. Along with Grosjean, he has been let go from the Haas team, and although I think he still had more to give, it's a decent, although low-key ending to his career. He scored a promising podium on his debut for McLaren in 2014, but that has been the pinnacle of his F1 career results-wise. Since he joined Haas, he has always been criticized for being way too aggressive by both veterans and rookies, pushing way too hard, even on racing his teammate. He has a great talent, but the way he acts on the track when he has the car to do so makes me think this was a good move. We now move on to Nicholas Latifi. The Canadian has had a decent debut season. Partnering George Russell, he has been outqualified in every round, although he has managed to keep up during the race. He's just made too many mistakes this year, but I'm going to call them rookie mistakes, and I'll think he'll improve in the future. He's also a key part of the funding of the Williams team, with his father's sponsors being the main visual elements on both the driver suits and the car itself. It's a good financial move to keep him on board. I'm going to rank it a meh, because it's not bad, but not groundbreaking either. Controversial figure coming up. Fernando Alonso was confirmed for 2021 with Renault, and I'm going to just go out there and say, I always try to be as impartial as I can during my videos, but since this is a bit of an off-script thing, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that Fernando is my favorite driver, and I'm absolutely stoked to see him coming back to Renault. This move was a great one because due to Ricciardo leaving, they were in need for a leadership figure, and who is better at that than Alonso? He has had great success with the team in the past and is now coming back as Renault are starting to go on a strong upward direction once again. His team building abilities and never give up mentality are a great addition to any team, and I think this partnership with Renault is going to be great for both parties. You might have seen this coming. I'm rating this a great move. Next up is Giovinazzi. The young Italian confirmed he will be remaining with Alfa Romeo for 2021, in one of the most shocking reveals of the year. He's been outperforming Kimi Raikkonen at some races alright, but the fact that a young driver is barely keeping up with a seasoned veteran with 20 years experience under his belt is kind of concerning. I was expecting more from Antonio and definitely wasn't expecting him to still be racing in 2021, at least not with Alfa. The team has missed out on a great opportunity of having Schumacher, Schwartzman or Aylot on their team, and so I'm going to rank this a bad move. Next up, Kimi Raikkonen himself, the Iceman. If it was one or the other between Kimi and Antonio, I would have preferred to see Kimi stay. He's the best now in terms of car development, having driven across 3 engine regulations and countless aero changes. It's good to see Kimi retaining his seat for at least another year. We now move on to Pierre Gasly, definitely my driver of the season. He's had an amazing year, handling outperforming his teammate and regularly battling with the top of the midfield. He became a Grand Prix winner and proved all of his doubters wrong. Not having him aboard next year would be a travesty, but a move to Red Bull wouldn't have been the right one for the reasons I explained already in my Red Bull video. Overall, I think AlphaTauri is a transition team for him as he looks forward to the front of the grid for a future contract. But out of what's available to him now, he made the best choice. This was a great move in my book. George Russell is up next, and if you've seen my recent video, you'll know what I think of the move. When it was first announced, it was a bad one in my mind, but with the recent rumors and, let's say, underperformances on track, I'm just grateful he's gonna be racing at all next year. And maybe staying with Williams for one more season before a move to possibly Mercedes is pretty good. All things considered, I'm going to grade this a great, because I'm just happy to see him on the grid for next season. Up ahead we have Lando Norris, and this was an expected move. Lando has become a much more well-rounded driver with the experience he acquired last year and is mounting a challenge to both his teammate and the whole field, holding 4th position for a great number of races. Staying in McLaren was a great move, but due to the fact that it was pretty much expected, I'm going to give it a good rating. Now, another kind of controversial move. Why do I say this? Because of the ripple effect it had on the teams and the way they evolved during the season. I'm talking about Ricciardo. When he announced he was leaving Red Bull, many sources pointed to a sit fit and a contract negotiation with McLaren, but he ended up going to Renault in the end. After a mediocre season, he decided to not renew contract with Enstone in favor of Zak Brown's team. I see this move as a vote of confidence towards McLaren, but in the last few races they have been struggling with their aero package. Although this move is more so aimed towards the switch to Mercedes power for next year and the change in regulations in 2022. This is a great move for both Danny and McLaren. Now to the most talked about move when the season began, Sainz to Ferrari. It was a bold move for the Spaniard to move to the Italian team, and repeated comparisons were drawn to Alonso's career path and how similar they were. But once the season actually started, it was pure shock. This season has been Ferrari's worst in a long time, and if it weren't for Leclerc, they would have been looking at being only ahead of the backmarkers. This move can be seen as a vote of confidence or a seat warming for one of the junior drivers. Nevertheless, it's Ferrari, and the PR boost it's given Sainz has been great. And if Ferrari can get it together for next season, he could be in a good position. I rated this move good for both Carlos and the Scuderia. Next up is Valtteri Bottas, and to be honest, I'm not that psyched. He has been there for 3 years now, and hasn't even come close to mounting a challenge to Hamilton. But hey, Mercedes just wants him because of that. If they can keep a number 1 and number 2 structure solid, they can guarantee another championship. So yeah, it's a meh for me. Moving on to Ocon, we were all pretty bummed when he was replaced by Stroll for 2019, but let's be honest, he hasn't been that good. Lagging far behind his teammate, being outqualified in almost every event. He hasn't been putting on the performances that are expected, but I think next year is going to be the decider. If Fernando wipes the floor with him, I think it will be best to let him go, but if he can mount a challenge, I would keep him around. Another meh rating here. Last but not least, the actual move that set the silly season in motion. Sebastian Vettel going to Aston Martin for next year. This year has been pretty much the worst of his career, the 4-time world champion being handily beaten by his pretty new teammate. But it's been clear to see that he's been given the short end of the stick and has to do what he can with the car that he's very uncomfortable with. Sebastian is one of those drivers that if the car suits him, he can be the class of the field, but unlike many other champions, he has issues adapting to a different car. If he can rally the team around him, it will be great to see what he has to offer, but I think we can be too psyched. I'm rating this a good move. And that pretty much sums it up. That's all we have so far. These have been my takes on the 2021 moves. Let me know if you agree or think otherwise with these opinions. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one.